Today I'm taking a look at the VEVOR Crowfoot wrench set. So I really like that they're including the foam inserts with these things, just because tools like this you're typically going to be putting inside of your toolbox instead of having something like a blow molded case where you're going to have to modify in order to get that into your toolbox. This is already going to be ready to go. And on top of that, it's a very nice presentation anyway. It's got everything well labeled right here on the foam. And this set is both standard as well as metric. So we got 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 22. So we did skip a 17, a 20, and a 21. On the standard, we got 3/8, 7/16, half, 9/16, 5/8, 11/16, 3/4, 7/8. So the standard is completely full from a 3/8 up to a 7/8. And I do like that two-tone coloring they got on there. So you can see on these Crowfoots, this is an open-end style. So this looks more like a flat open-end wrench. The main benefit of this is that you can get this in places you cannot get that 6-point flare nut wrench. So in the event you got that nut tied up against a wall, you can just slip this on right until it gets to the wall and you can still turn it. So I almost always prefer the Crowfoot wrenches that have those points on the end, but when you need these things, you need these because the other ones will not work. These are all 3/8 drive. They do not have slots in there for the detent, but I've yet to see a Crowfoot wrench that does have those. But it's not really a big deal because most of the time they hold fairly well anyway. Very nice chrome finish on here. We got two extensions. We got a 6-inch and a 3-inch, and they both have knurled grip on there. So if we need to spin these sockets in with our fingers, we can do that. So here's our two different sets of Crowfoot wrenches. We can see we got our 6-point here on the bottom. We got our open end on the top. So these are going to give you a lot more grip. So if you're worried about rounding off a nut, this is the one you want to use. But if you're in a tight location, or even sometimes if you need to point this up a little bit, you can still grab onto the nut like that. This can grab onto things you cannot grab with this. If at all possible, I always want to use a 6-point, but sometimes you just got to use the open end. One other point where the 6-point has an advantage, we got a couple more sizes in here. So this one goes to a 7/8. This one goes all the way up to a 1-inch, and this one also comes with a 17. So this is one of the most complicated flare nuts to get to, just because of the angle. You don't got a lot of room here. Even with a 12-point, you can't really get access to this. But with a Crowfoot, we can actually get on there. So that is pretty much the only way to get that nut off. Now even with that, we don't really have a ton of access because we still got to get a ratchet on there, and we don't have a lot of room to wiggle around. So for that, the open end can actually be an advantage. Just because we can kind of push that guy on, we can move it around a little bit. We can even bend it out like that just so we get a little bit more access. So these things can really come in handy. So I will take the 6-point 9 times out of 10 just because the extra bite that you get on this guy and the reduction of the chances you're going to round off that nut, especially in that area. You do not want to have to replace that nut. But sometimes you really need that open end. And when you need it, times like this, you really need it. So these are both awesome tools, and this is the reason I have both, because there are just times where you need to have both. So overall, those are some very nice Crowfoot wrenches.